Last Sunday, we explored the significance of transitions and how to transition well. And this morning, I want to share with you around the theme encouragement, which is central. But before I do that and have the opportunity to do that, I invite you to join me in prayer. Good and gracious and eternal God, we give you thanks for all your good gifts, but especially now the gift of your word. May it be for us once again a living word, because it lives in and through our lives. Amen. Encouragement, a definition that I find helpful is encouragement is to inspire confidence and hope. I like that because it talks about not only what encouragement is, but what encouragement, if it's done, results in the folks that we encourage. There are all kinds of examples. One of my favorites is an example of Mikel Melamed. Now, Mikel Melamed is a runner. He's a unique runner, a marathoner, and unique because he discovered at birth that he had muscular dystrophy. And in spite of that, determined that he would become a runner. And he's run in several marathons, the Boston Marathon. He's also run in the Chicago Marathon. And on that occasion, when he raced in the Chicago Marathon, he took his place near the end of the line. And when the gun went off, he began to move forward. The front runners finished in a little over 2 hours. Most of the rest of the runners finished somewhere after the 3-hour mark, a few after the 4-hour mark in a race that started a little before 9 a.m. At 1:30 a.m., 16 hours and 46 minutes after starting, he crossed the finish line. His team, therapist, physician, and encouragers were there. Several of the crowd stayed. The folks at the finish line, the registrars, the tape, the gate, all gone hours before. But there were his encouragers with flashlights held up, showing the way, and as he came down the final torturous stretch of the 26 miles, 300 yards, he came in with the cheers of a champion. That's encouragement. Amen? Yeah. You see, that's foundational to the Christian community. It's what we're to be about. We're to be encouragers, those who lift one another up, who lead one another in the race of faith, who continue to stand by each other. We're to be like Barnabas. Now, Barnabas is an interesting character. His name actually was Joseph. He was a Levite from Cyprus. And he found his way into Jerusalem, and while there was nurtured and came to faith in Jesus Christ. And he so led in encouragement that they actually changed his name from Joseph to Barnabas, which means son of consolation or son of encouragement. That good? In fact, it was the disciples, the 12 apostles, who named him that and who referred to him as an apostle. And his name, Son of Encouragement, literally means one called to stand beside. Isn't that a great image? That if you're an encourager, you're the person standing beside. That was Barnabas. He was the one called to stand beside. And what I want to do is I want to help you realize, I didn't before I did the study, the impact that Barnabas had in the life of the early church and how his encouragement intersects with people at 4 critical junctures in the history of the church as recorded in the book of Acts. Okay? So the first time we encounter Barnabas is in the 4th chapter of Acts. And we find him here encouraging through generosity. Now, the verses before this describe the Christian community as a place where people who were a part of the church found not only moral and spiritual support, they also found economic support, because many of the folks in the early church, as most folks within the culture, were poor and living hand to mouth. And as you might imagine, when you are poor, when you're scrounging to find your next meal, and you never know whether or not you're going to live from day to day, how beat down that makes you feel, how discouraged you become without a significant lack of hope. Why? Because you ask why. Why am I stuck in this position? Why do I feel like I don't matter? Why is it that I'm constantly wondering if I'm important and if I have any meaning? But in the life of the church, not only was there a sense of spiritual hope, there was also material help. And so they described that those who had means would bring those means, those offerings, if you will, and lay them at the feet of the apostles, and the apostles then would distribute it to those in need. Isn't that the way faith ought to work? That you care for one another in tangible, significant ways? Barnabas was so moved that in the passage this morning,